Today we're looking at the effect of the COVID lockdown on the buy-to-let property market in South Africa. I'm Neil Forster from Organic Growth, and this is Josephine with me to discuss it. In our last video, we introduced the subject, and we're going to chat some more. Joe's got questions for me. But before we get into today's topic, I just wanted to announce that we are offering a free giveaway to one of our subscribers, and if you want more details, just stick around towards the end of the video. I'll discuss it in more detail and show you how to participate. And without further ado, Joe, let's get into today's topic.
Thanks for having me back again. So in the last video we talked about the kind of theory, if there's blood on the streets, it's time to buy property. And you particularly showed us kind of how the current interest rates should be affecting decisions about buying property and some of the benefits thereof. And we kind of touched on a tenant movement at the moment as part of that video. And I mean, your company manages a portfolio of over 200 properties, which would give you quite a nice sort of sample size, I suppose. So I was just wondering what kind of tenant movement you've been seeing, and what may have been informing some of those trends, and maybe what other insights you have as relates to tenant movement specifically at the moment.
Yes, okay. Well, firstly, I want to just mention that the portfolio that we manage is in mostly the northern suburbs of Johannesburg and Midrand and Sandton. And the portfolios that is mostly sort of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom townhouses. That's what we're looking at.
Yes.
And in terms of movement, what we saw is during the strict lockdown, we saw quite a few people moving out in panic. There was a bit of panic movement, and tenants were able to move out, but new tenants couldn't move in yet because agents we weren't allowed to move. So even though some people moved illegally, as agents you couldn't go in and actually market property. So in June we saw quite high vacancies. But as soon as we were able to move again, they filled up to pretty much the same vacancy levels as before the lockdown.
Oh.
Very close actually.
Okay.
So from a landlord crisis point of view, we're not seeing a major crisis at all.
Okay, in terms of vacancies.
In terms of vacancies.
Okay.
And the vacancies are caused by movement, and we're seeing two kinds of movement at the moment. The first kind of movement is the distress movement, where you got a tenant who's lost his job or is in sales, and his revenues dropped dramatically.
Yeah.
And I must say that my faith in humankind has really been restored in this process, in our South African tenants. I'm seeing a lot of tenants who are in trouble actually coming forward and saying, I'm in trouble, I need help, what can you do? I've had tenants say, look, I'm in trouble, my rental is 7,500, I can only afford 6,000 at the moment, so do you want me to move out, or can we hold the rental at 6,000 for 2-3 months while I get back on my feet?
Sure.
So those are heartwarming, and they're lovely.
Yeah.
Because they're real people with real issues, and we have real solutions. And on the other hand of that, I've seen landlords be very gracious. I've seen landlords, one or two of them, you always get the one or two that like, no, I want my money and I want it, and kick them out type thing, but that's very rare. Most of the time, the landlords they're feeling that relief in their bond repayments that I spoke about in the last video. Where, for example, on a 600,000 Rand bond, your bond repayment is reduced by 1,600 Rand since January to now. So you've got a bit of space. And I'm seeing landlords being a bit gracious. And if you're a landlord in South Africa and you're listening to this, recognize that you've got effectively you've had 1,600 Rand increase in your rental if the tenant is paying the right rental. So you've got a bit of space to move. And what I've been advising all of our landlords is retain your tenant at all costs.
Unless, surely there must be an unless.
Well, if the guys are, you do get the chances. You always get the chances.
Yeah.
And before COVID, they used to have the other excuses,
car accident, family issues.
My father died again, my mother died again. You don't know how many funerals there are, and those sort of excuses. And
some of those will be legitimate. Maybe
some will be legitimate.
Worth talking about.
And you with experience, you can see which are legitimate.
Yes.
But I find that a tenant that talks to you, that when you invoice them and and there's no response, and you try and get hold of them and there's no response, then you know what you're dealing with.
Yes.
But if they come forward straight away and say, look, I've got a problem on this, on this, on that, then we tend to work with them.
Okay.
And that's been our approach all the time, is to work with tenants and to work with landlords and to try and see through all the garbage. And of course, there are the chances who blame everything on COVID.
Yeah. But they don't need COVID necessarily to find something
but
to blame.
But somehow he's living, he's eating, he's putting petrol in his car, but somehow he hasn't got a single cent for rental. We know. But if they come and say, I can pay a portion of rent because my income has dropped, and they're quite forthcoming in terms of showing us their payslips. I've had that bank people coming forward and say, there's my bank statement. You can see I normally got X and I'm now getting Y. So the first type of movement is a tenant in distress who is saying, either let's drop my rental for a short amount of time or I'll move to something cheaper.
Okay.
And we work with them. We sort of, okay, you're moving at the end of next month. But there you get somebody moving from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom, or from a same sort of accommodation but maybe cheaper. Going downgrading, but moving from a 7,500 rand rental to a 6,000 rand rental.
Yes.
We're seeing those. And then of course the other type of movement that I'm not seeing much of, but I've seen glimmers of it, and I think it'll in the next few months we'll see more and more of this, is where we start being there's this whole thing of working from home is picking up. I know my staff aren't in a hurry to come back to the office. They're comfortable at home, but if you've got a couple at home and you're in a 2-bedroom townhouse, you're running out of space. You need an office. So we're seeing some people moving into accommodation that suits their new state of being, really, when you're working from home. And if you've got children and you try and work from home, you really need your own room. You need extra accommodation. So we're seeing a bit of that as well. But I must be honest, we're not seeing as much of it as I thought. I thought we'd see a lot more. And maybe it's just me being a little bit ahead of myself, because I think it is going to come.
Okay.
I'm seeing companies starting to settle down now. Turnover's picking up again. Things are happening again. We're seeing the economy returning to normal slowly, and decisions are being made.
Yes.
Because during the actual lockdown, everybody's just in panic mode. It's just survive, batten down the hatches. But
and very conservative with what money you do have as well. I think we're maybe all feeling a little bit kind of like, tomorrow is not as guaranteed as I thought it was.
yes, tomorrow's not as guaranteed as I thought it was.
So you've alluded to the movement of some people into similar sized units but different rentals. So I suppose my question is, what kind of trends are we seeing in terms of how this is affecting rentals? If you were to say like market related rentals for certain units in certain places.
That too is a long question, a long question, and I want to discuss it in a separate video.
Okay.
But yes, there definitely have been changes, but surprisingly not what I expected, not fully what I expected.
Okay.
So let's talk about it in the next time we get together, because really it bears talking about. There's so many different factors.
Yeah. Okay, that would be very useful.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you.
Okay, so I think that's it for today.
Thank you.
And Joe, I'm asking you now, will you come again? I've really enjoyed these chats.
Yeah, thank you. Very informative.
And now about that free giveaway that I spoke about earlier. In years of property coaching, over and over again, I've seen people sit before me and they've made the same mistakes over and over and over again. And these are mistakes that are so easy to avoid, and yet they cost tens, if not hundreds of thousands of rands. What I recommend before you buy a single property is that you speak to a coach, be it an informal coach or a formal coach, but somebody who's got the experience, who's done exactly this before, so that you don't go make the same mistakes they make. At Organic Growth, we offer two options. We offer a 45-minute strategic planning session, or we offer a 2-hour detailed blueprint planning session. In the blueprint planning session, we go through a certain amount of training, and then we finish off with a full investment blueprint, planning out how you're going to go about getting to that place of financial freedom. To summarize then, we offer the 45-minute strategic planning session or the full 2-hour blueprint planning session. And what we're giving away as completely free to one of our subscribers is the 45-minute strategic planning session worth 1,050 Rand. Yesterday, while I was editing this video, a young lady came to meet me. We had a strategic coaching session planned. And she was about to buy her first property. And she came in here with all the information. She was falling in love with this property. She was all excited. And before she signed on the dotted line, she thought, let me talk to Neil. And she booked a session, came to see me. And within about 5 or 10 minutes, we could see that actually she was about to pay 20 to 25% above market price for this property. So at first she was a bit deflated, like, oh no. But then she realized, wow, I nearly wasted a whole lot of money. And so she left here armed with the information, knowing what the real market price was for this property. She could go back to the agent and say, no, this is the real price. These are the facts. And either negotiate down to the real price or go and find an alternative property that was at the right price. So for her, she was delighted. She said, money well spent, time well spent. So to qualify for this free giveaway, we want 3 things of you. Firstly, we'd like you to subscribe, because only subscribers are going to be able to qualify. Secondly, we'd like to see a comment. I want to see where you're from. It's very interesting to see where everybody's from. And in your comment, please, if you have anything to say about the video, whether there's something that you would like to ask or something good you found about the video that will really help others, please comment. And then thirdly, share this on social media. So if you do those 3 things, comment, subscribe and share, you qualify. At the end of September, we'll award this free giveaway to one of our subscribers. Thank you for watching this video, and before you go, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe by hitting this icon, or you may want to watch this video or this video, which will be of interest to you. And see you next time.